Uhuru.
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 Touch one. Touch all. One Africa. One nation. Uhuru. That's what it's about. And today, that's really what it's about. This is the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement Sunday Rally, Community Sunday Rally. And this week, we're going to focus on the Solidarity Day of Action that occurred earlier this week on April the 30th throughout the world, where African people stood in the streets in their home and protested against U.S. imperialism, French imperialism, invasion, and fight against the freedom forces in the Sahel states, of of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. But before we get into that, we have a little housekeeping. We do have our restrooms to the right of us if you need to use the restroom. And also, we want to thank everybody online who participate. And we are located at 4101 West Florissant, and on the corner of West Florissant and Dallas in St. Louis. And these community rallies are on Sundays from 3 to 5 p.m. They are brought to you once again by the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement, formed in 1991 in Chicago. And this year is the 34th anniversary of the formation of InPDUM. Give it up for InPDUM for standing Operation Uhuru for 34 years and going strong with bread, peace, and Black Power as the motto. You can go to InPDUM.org for more information. You can go InPDUM.org/. You can donate. You can join, become a member, and find out more information and what all is going on with the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement globally. Before we go further with our program, we have our African Nation Fight Song, and you will see the words to the African Nation Fight Song. They're on the screen. Those of you online, you'll be able to follow, and those in the room, you'll be able to follow on the screen as well. So if everybody would please stand at this time. The African Nation Fight Song.
Africa, we are winning. Shout Uhuru for our freedom. We are winning. We'll dance and sing songs when revolution's won. We are winning. Africa's best. Sun. Keep up the work in Marcus Garvey's name. We are winning. Independent and free is what we will be. We are winning. Africa will bask in our victory. We are winning. Long live the liberation of our African nation. Freedom to organization. Socialist world our creation. 1 billion strong, yes we are one. We are winning.
That's right. All right. So we really have a experience today, aren't we? So we have a education coming on today. We're gonna have it right. Come up and lead us with our political education, and we're talking point number 12. Come on up, Westbrook.
Today, like Comrade said, we would be dealing with point 12 out of the 14-point working platform of the African People Socialist Party. Uhuru. We want to end to the vicious, self-serving U.S. and Western European political, economic, and military interference in the affairs of Africa and African people throughout the world. I'm sorry. Can I trouble somebody to bring me my water, please? So you know I start talking country without my water. I got a thick tongue. Yes.
We understand.
Y'all understand me?
Yeah, we understand.
Thank you for your patience. Well, here we come back. Once again, we want the end to the vicious, self-serving U.S. and Western European political, economic, and military interference. Thank you, Comrade. In the affairs of Africa and African people throughout the world. We believe that African people in Africa and elsewhere have the right and responsibility to solve our own problems, free from the unwanted and self-serving interference of the U.S. and Western imperialists. We believe that the U.S. and Western imperialist interference in the affairs of our people is designed to maintain the continuation of the theft of our human and material resources and our oppression and impoverishment. We believe that African people must be free to organize and struggle for an end to the colonialism and to neocolonialism without interference from the U.S. and Western imperialists, which support neocolonialism and colonialism in Africa, the U.S. and everywhere we are located, which has deposed progressive and revolutionary African leaders and replaced them with neo-colonialist stooges. Now, Uhuru, I'm gonna do this again. I ain't gonna stunt with that. I got to try to get, yeah, that's throwing me off. I love the time, Red. But we believe that the African people must be free to organize and struggle for the end to the colonialism and neocolonialism without interference from the U.S. and Western imperialism, which support neocolonialism and colonialism in Africa, the U.S. and elsewhere, and which has deposed progressive and revolutionary African leaders and replaced them with neo-colonial stooges.
Yeah.
Uhuru? We believe that African people around the world have the responsibility to solve our own problems without no type of interference. We know today we have a special hands-off Ibrahim Traore, thank you. I'll be butchering his last name sometimes, but hands off Burkina Faso, hands off Africa. But this is a prime example for us behind point 12. Because we seen that this old French colony call themselves still interference with the affairs of the people. They call themselves trying to rid that particular area from insurgents, while also depleting the area from its resources. But it was kind of funny that even up before this, but I want to concentrate on 2012. Since 2012, how they've been pulling mad resources up out of Burkina Faso, but insurgents been ongoing, even on an uptick. You know what I'm talking about? So it took one of our comrades that had a bright idea to say, you know what? Maybe the continuation, maybe y'all purposely not dealing with this insurgents. Talk about the French government. Maybe y'all purposely allowing this to go on for is to be the reason for y'all to be here. Exploiting the minerals for military on the ground, but your military on the ground is not helping out with the insurgent. Your military on the ground is just helping exploit the resources up out of Africa. But it took our comrade Ibrahim to in other forces to depose the French in this government up out of Africa. But since these last short 2 years, the GDP went from roughly 18.3 to 22.1 billion and the GDP uptake. So obviously what he's doing is spectacular. You know what I'm talking about, without the French help, number one. Number two, what you've been seeing, he's been trying to monetize the agriculture of Burkina Faso. He's been investing with high quality seeds. He's been investing in tractors or other things that might till the field, you know, to not only help feed the people, but sustain itself without outside of interference. You know what I'm talking about now. But not only that, they promised that 30% of its gold revenue, the revenue they get from the gold, 30% of that will go towards what we finally bring joy to our ear, having a military industrial complex on Africa continent, on Africa, the continent grounds. But Burkina Faso, Ibrahim, he said that with 30%, he's gonna start building a military industrial complex. That's with our own weaponry, our own technology as far as drones, surveillance, etc. You know what I'm talking about? Because that's another reason why they kicked the French out, because it's like we keep asking y'all for weaponry to help against this insurgency, but y'all not giving us weaponry. Y'all steady exploiting, but y'all not giving us what we need. But when we go to Russia or the Wagner group, the mercenaries, you know what I'm talking about, for our protection, now we got issues. You know what I'm talking about? Why do we have issues? Why do we have issues? Because the government that's represented by the people have a strong chance of staying in power compared to these neo-colonialists that's backed behind Ivory Coast, that backed behind French. Now this little what's his name? General Landry, or whatever, you know what I'm talking about? But make a long story short, you see that it's the West is coming up against us. And so once again, African people around the world have the right and responsibility to solve our own problem without the interference of the US and the Western interference.
That's right.
But across the continent, every time we stand up or we find a force of ours to stand up, we have this interference, and we say enough is enough. The imperialist interference into the affairs of African people is designed to maintain the status quo, the continuation of the status quo. I think we did this last week, but make a long story short, it's all about the resources. If you got a Mali, if you got a Burkina Faso, if you got a Nigeria or any other Western, if you got these spots that stand up for themselves and rejecting the West, then you got individuals being a beacon for the rest of Africa. So as long as you got these three leaders being a beacon for how the rest of Africa should look, it will always be a continuation of them because they want the status quo to continue. And once you see forces like this rising up to the time, rising up to the problems that we are having. When you see folks like this, then like I said, you will see the outside interference, but we say that all that's got to go. Our materials belong to us. But long as you got insurgencies trying to come and take over, or Ivory Coast trying to take over, then the people is not necessarily focusing on everything that's needed for the people to grow. Right now, it's like I'm focused on keeping the outside forces from coming in. So if my teachers is keeping the outside forces coming in, I can't focus all my eggs on home. And we need to support home. We need to support Africa. We need to support any type of money, any type of resources. If we got folks at home in Africa, like I do, we call them, tell them to migrate, because we need to help our forces from any type of imperialist outside forces, because that shouldn't be his main focus. His main focus should help carry on the progress that he's been having these last 2 years in Burkina Faso. Uhuru, we want the right to free and organize in the struggle to get rid of the neocolonialism. We have that right, and no one going to stop that right. So Uhuru. So I want to hop in the questions if you don't mind. First question. The U.S. and Western interference in Africa. The U.S. and Western interference in the affairs of African people is designed to provide this fake humanitarian aid to Africa. A. B. To maintain the stealth oppression and impoverishment of African people. C. To promote democracy and free enterprise. Or D. All of the above. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. B. Congratulations. You're absolutely right. It is to maintain the theft and oppression of the impoverishment of the African people. Uhuru. Question 2. Who has the right and responsibility to solve our problems? A. The U.S. government. B. China. C. Is Angela Jolie and this other cat, fine, whatever. Or D. African people. D. African people. And I just want us to know that and understand that it is our job and our responsibility to solve our own problem. A lot of folks is looking at the U.S. government and they saying that this aid to Africa is solving our problems. No, it's not. It is giving America a foothold in Africa to continue on with our problems. A lot of folks saying China, you know what I'm talking about, with this initiative that they doing with. We all know the Belt and Road Initiative. That's an easy way to get caught up in slavery, modern day slavery. But yes, Ms. D, African people. Third and not last but not least, how has the U.S. and Western imperialism responded to revolutionary African leaders historically? A, by deposing them and replacing them with neo-colonial stooges. B, by supporting them with funds and weapons. C, through an isolationist position, not intervening at all. Or D, all of the above. Hey, I love my camera. It be so smart and bright. Uhuru, I appreciate that. Let's give ourselves a round of applause for the participation and the great answering. But that was conclude this week 14-point platform. And pick it back up next week. We left off at Uhuru.
Uhuru, thank you, Comrade West. Real appreciate the political education. You know, when we do, and many of you know, I may be speaking to the choir, but when we do say Uhuru, it is something that's on our mind every day. Political education is a part of that freedom. So each and every day, if you're not doing anything that you don't think that you should be doing, you should at least be reading something that's can forward your mind about the African Revolution to give you a little bit more history about yourself and the world and what's going on today. Like we are focusing today with, in part, the solidarity movement that's been happening across the world with the comrades in this Alliance of Sahel States. So next up, we're going to show you a couple of videos, and these videos are going to highlight some of the work and activities that has been going on globally throughout the world. And some of them are immediate to us. We have forces that have been involved in them. We have members that are members of the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace and Reparation on the East Coast who had organized the protests up in the East Coast. And you'll also see we'll show two clips, but you'll also see in one of the clips a longtime comrade, Pam Africa, who was a member of MOVE. And we know that the local puppets and sellout forces, along with the colonizers locally, bombed a whole block community in 1985. But she is a survivor of that and have a fraternal relationship with the African People's Socialist Party, Uhuru movement, because it was the party who in 1984 came to the defense to the comrades in Philadelphia and all the bombings that occurred there. So we want to draw your attention.
Organized by December 12th.
And organized by this particular one, the first one will be shown is a movement that was organized by the December 12th movement, also abbreviated as D12. And after that, we'll go further with the statement from the party. But catch these next videos right quick.
Born in America. Me and America. No matter where we are. We are the same. The folks dropped us off in different places, but we all came from Africa.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So we say, hands off President Ibrahim Traore.
President Ibrahim Traore
Your revolution is our revolution. They are afraid of us now.
Ils ont peur de nous aujourd'hui.
Donald Trump is a punk. He's going so crazy. He wants to take Canada, Greenland, the Panama Canal, the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of Mexico. He has lost his mind. We will not be defeated. Because we're moving in the spirit of Thomas Sankara. Parce que nous avançons dans l'esprit de Thomas Sankara. The spirit of Asatipo, Kwame Nkrumah. Nous avançons dans l'esprit de Kwame Nkrumah. Patrice Lumumba, Sekou Touré, all of the African liberators of the 1960s were our heroes. Tous les libérateurs de l'Afrique des années 60. Along with Malcolm X, the Black Panther Party, the Black Panther, so brothers and sisters, we are going to be with you because there's a revolution that's coming to Africa, coming to the world. Nos frères et sœurs, nous serons avec vous parce qu'il y a une révolution, mais en Afrique qui va envahir le monde. And the American empire is declining. The American dollar is declining. The IMF and the World Bank can go to hell. The Fond monétaire international we don't need them. We don't need them. We got our own gold. We got our own uranium. We got our own oil. We got our own propane. We got our own copper. Imperialism is down. Colonialism is down. African liberation forever. Black power! Black power! Black power! Black power! Black power! African power! African power! Comme je le disais, et nous avons avec nous notre député de la communauté noire américaine. One people, one continent. Un peuple, un continent. We are black. Nous sommes noirs. We are black. Nous sommes noirs. And we will be free. At 4 o'clock today, at 16h aujourd'hui, we are marching on the French mission to the United Nations. On va marcher sur la mission diplomatique de la France ici aux Nations Unies. Your president said your wealth belongs to your people. They've been stealing for centuries. They stole us. President Ibrahim Traore, There's many of you who can join us at 4 o'clock at 47th Street and 2nd Avenue, where the French mission is. And 47th and 2nd Avenue. And then we're going to march on the U.S. mission. Because that Negro, Uncle Tom, General Langley, attacked President Traore, attaqué le président Ibrahim Traore. He works for the white man. Il travaille pour les Blancs. He works for imperialism. Il travaille pour l'impérialisme. But today is our day. All over the world, today, we stand in unity with Burkina Faso. This is your day. And I want a t-shirt. Je vais vous dire. And I want a t-shirt.
You need a t-shirt.
Nous avons la liste des présents pour le networking, on va continuer à faire les mouvements. Nous allons organiser quelque chose à Mois-de-Juillet à la 125. Put your name, we need to be, on doit être en force pour montrer notre nom. Pour être tout ça, il faut qu'on monte en force. Tout le monde doit mettre leur nom là-bas. Donc on doit être unis. Donc, il est le président de African First qui va parler. Et puis il y a les contributions, il y a la boîte des contributions.
So it's on me. All right, we live here in front of the French Embassy and for Brother Ibrahim Traore. This is a demonstration called by December 12th and the Power Movement. As you can see, for people here that's listening, that's not familiar with Brother Ibrahim Traore and what's going on here, while we say hands off President Traore. I'm trying to catch up. Long live Texas. Take my cane. All right, here we are, up here in this space, making it very clear, very plain, with black power, with people power. Hands off our brother Ibrahim Traore. And we're at the French Embassy, and because there's been several attempts on this brother's life. Here's Roger Wayne, December 12th. I want people to take a moment and go on YouTube and pull up Black Cultural Diaries. If you don't know about Brother Ibrahim Traore, you can find all the information that's needed there. This demonstration started yesterday morning. It's been a call out, and what's going on? This is happening.
Long live Africa! Long live Africa! Long live Africa! Long live Africa! Long live Africa!
All over the continent of Africa. All over the continent of Africa. People has risen up saying no, we will not have another Patrice Lumumba, which these people are responsible for the death, the murder of Brother Ibrahim, Brother Lumumba. Brother Sankor. There's a site on YouTube that also tell you about all of the warrior presidents of Africa that was assassinated, sanctioned by France, sanctioned by the United States, sanctioned by the people over in Europe, Belgium.
Ibrahim!
Africa.
Hands up! Long live!
Ibrahim!
Hands up!
Africa!
Long live!
Ibrahim!
Hands up!
Africa!
Long live!
Ibrahim!
Say our land, you say our fight. Our land!
Our fight.
Our land!
Our fight!
Our land!
Our fight.
Our land!
Our fight.
I need y'all to be louder. Our land!
Our fight.
Our land!
Our fight.
Our land!
Our fight. Our fight. Our fight. This demonstration is getting bigger and bigger as we turn the corners in this circle. It's getting bigger and bigger. And of course the police is out here, plain clothes, and some of them is arrested.
All right, Uhuru, before we go to the next one, we got another clip, Uhuru. Thank you. We just want to, kind of deepen it a little bit. I think one of the last things was said on there, that last clip is in effect that, it's all about African people fighting for Africa. And we are one people. And you can see the unity that our people have. When we really say the slogan, touch one, touch all, it's alive and living. It's a material manifestation. The fact that they want to touch this one brother, Ibrahim Traore, and granted, they want to touch all African people.
Yep.
They want to wipe us out. We almost 2 billion people. So they really want to deal with us in the way that they can. But when we have leadership that stands up like what is happening in the Sahel states, you see unity. You see the progressive movement of Africa moving from a smaller unit of organization to a greater unit of organization, which becomes the continental unity of organization. Once you have 2 billion African people liberated, there's nothing on earth that you can do to us. Everybody gonna have to bow down to us. And we say jump, you just say how high. We'll tell you if it's high enough. And if it ain't, you need to go exercise and do it a little bit higher, because you owe us not only 600 years, you owe us for thousands of years of intervention on the continent of Africa by foreign and alien rule. So I just wanted to also go back to the first point, part of the 12 points, and to show you how this really ties together. And I'm going to read this because it's coming back again from the 12 point. We believe that African people in Africa and everywhere have a right and responsibility to solve our own problems, free from the unwanted and self-serving interference of U.S. and Western imperialism. We believe that the U.S. and Western imperialist interference in the affairs of our people is designed to maintain the continuation of the theft of our human and material resources and our oppression and impoverishment. So you see that the African people worldwide are standing up against that, and African people, whether they know it or not, are in unity with that part of the statement of the 12 point of the African People's Socialist Party's 12-point platform. So that's very key. So you can see that there is unity of thought and unity of action coming. And the more and more that grows, the more and more we are going to get that liberation and closer to the freedom that we know that we always say we want it in our lifetime. And we will get it in our lifetime if we stand up and work. Is that right? Uhuru. Touch one. One Africa. One nation. That's what it's about. So the next clip, we got a clip coming up, and we're going to show you some of the forces on the ground in occupied Azania under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. So we have our comrade, director for party affairs over there, and other comrades as they stand up and show solidarity for the forces of the Alliance of Sahel States. Uhuru. There you go.
Uhuru comrades, Izwele to Africa. I am Tafar Mugeri, and I'm with Tamsanga. I'm Tosana. We are here at Kokosi, Forgeville in South Africa, occupied Azania. And this is the InPDUM, the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement statement from the Kokosi branch right here in South Africa. So we are responding to the clarion call for the defense and solidarity of the resistance that's taking place in the Sahel, and also for comrade Captain Ibrahim Traore. So I'm going to read quickly a statement here from the African People's Socialist Party and the Uhuru movement. African workers of the world, unite and organize. Global Day of Action in solidarity with Burkina Faso and the resistance in the Sahel region. Join the struggle taking back Africa back in our own hands. Stands with the anti-colonial alliance of Sahel states. We salute the just and historic struggles of the African government and African people in the Sahel states, who have in a short space of time expelled the US and French colonial armies from our sacred African soil. The anti-colonial government of the Sahel states, led by Chiane, Goitia, and Traore, are part of the general growing African resistance, characterized by the rejection of foreign colonial powers led by the US white and unpatriotic African petty bourgeois governments. The governments and people of the Sahel have reintroduced anti-colonial resistance as the main politics in the region, contributing to the mobilization of excitement of African people in the region, in Africa and throughout the world. The alliance of Sahel states is capturing more and more of the imagination of African people everywhere, who want nothing less than the total redemption of Africa for the benefit of all black people at home and abroad. A clear example of this desire is the fact that in Guadeloupe, at least half of the people want to go home to Africa. We have to always see the big picture in every national or regional struggle. The attacks on Chairman Omali Eshitela and the Uhuru train, on the Venezuelan government of Nicolas Maduro, and the attacks on Captain Traore are all part of the same war being waged by colonizers to maintain colonialism as the global mode of production. The alliance of Sahel states is not just fighting the US, French and other parasitic corporations, but against the colonial mode of production and its thousands of manifestations past and present, including coup attempts against Captain Traore, Ibrahim Traore, threats of war against Niger, sanctions against the Sahel states, the bloody overthrow of governments of Lumumba, Gaddafi, the Congo and Rwanda genocides, the Sharpeville massacre, the murders of King and Malcolm, the economics of the CFA, the IMF and World Bank's structural adjustments, the colonial slave trade, the lynchings of African people in the US, the punishment of Haiti who dares to be free, and the anti-black immigration laws that feed our children to the sharks in the Mediterranean. The question is, who must die? The global colonial mode of production or the African anti-colonial mode of production forces? The balance of power within the Sahel states has shifted in favor of anti-colonial forces against the forces of the status quo of the African petty bourgeoisie. All these coup attempts against the government of Ibrahim Traore are desperate efforts to derail the forward motion of African people and reinstate French or US control over the Sahel states. We in the African People's Socialist Party understand very well that for Africa and African people to be free, the global colonial mode of production must die, the colonizers must go. No African can afford to be a spectator. We are all called by history to act decisively wherever we are to build a modern anti-colonial movement with the final objective of decolonizing the mode of production once for all and replace it with the African working class mode of production. To stand in solidarity with Captain Ibrahim Traore, General Tiani and Gotia is to be a part of the international effort to mobilize, active and organize all forces fronts of the African National Liberation Movement to achieve our final objective, the liberation and unification of Africa and African people. Our salvation is in one Africa, one nation. The salvation of the world is also in one Africa, one nation. This is what imperialist forces are trying to stop. From one Sahel state to one Africa, one nation. We are clear that the union of 3 states of Sahel is the right direction. It points to the necessary unity of all 54 African states and all black communities, despite space around the world to end white colonial power over our lives once and for all. The defense of the anti-colonial government of Sahel states, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali is upon us. It is what we do everywhere to build a connected single movement under the leadership of the African working class that will make it impossible for the colonizers and their puppets, unpatriotic African petty bourgeois forces to attack Captain Traore and the Sahel states. The mission of the African working class is the mission of the African People's Socialist Party. The mission of the African People's Socialist Party is to complete the Black Revolution. That is to complete the revolution of Kwame Nkrumah, Malcolm X, Patrice Lumumba, Thomas Sankara, and others. But this time, until the revolution has been completed, this time it is won. Join the mobilization for Captain Traore in your area. Contact the African People's Socialist Party in your area. Our colonial mode of production must go. African unpatriotic government must go. Join their future. Join the African People's Socialist Party. Down with colonialism. Touch one, touch all. So that is our statement, comrades. And we are saying that regardless of where we are, let's recognize that the resistance taking place there, considering all other factors, what is primary right now is the fact that colonialism is the mode of production. Colonialism remains the primary contradiction. And if there is a resistance against colonialism and imperialism anywhere, we will be there to stand in solidarity. You know, we are not here for democracy, bourgeois democracy that does not satisfy the needs of the African working class, of the majority. Bourgeois democracy whereby you just go and vote. After voting, the government makes deals with US imperialism and the international parasitic corporations, and the people don't benefit anything there. That's what we have in most of the African colonial states. And we are saying that regardless of how the forces in the Sahel region went into power, which can be addressed with the democratic revolution of the masses of the people taking power in their own hands. We're saying that what is primary right now is the fact that colonialism, imperialism must go in the Sahel region. So we stand in solidarity, in unity with Comrade Captain Ibrahim Traore today, and say that African people must join the African People's Socialist Party. As we speak right now, we are at our institutions as a branch. We have the Burning Spear newspaper. Support the Burning Spear newspaper. Go online at the burningspear.com, and then you'll find articles on this issue and other issues affecting African people. We have this economic development institution in the form of a car wash. We are also opening a small shop there, and then we are doing this everywhere. The African People's Socialist Party exists in West Africa, in Liberia, Nigeria, in Sierra Leone, in Ghana. We are there. We are there in Southern Africa, in Zambia, South Africa. We are there also in Namibia and also in Swaziland. And we are also making headways in East Africa. Why we are doing this is because we are calling for the consolidation of the anti-colonial resistance and revolution of African people well over. So we're saying that one Africa, one nation. Israel too.
Africa.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. One Africa.
One nation.
One nation.
One Africa.
All right, Uhuru.
Uhuru.
So this is another clip, and this is from Chairman Omali Yeshitela, and he's with Comrade Charles Barron from New York area. And Charles Barron, he is the leader of Operation Power, which has been doing a lot of great work up in the Northeast area. So listen up to this one.
I think it's important what we're seeing happening with the alliance of the Sahel states. And we remember that what they are doing, one of the reasons it's so exciting to African people everywhere, all across the continent of Africa. When Nigeria was talking about it wanted to attack the Sahel forces there, the people in Nigeria, Africans in Nigeria, rose up in such great opposition that it frightened them. They had to back off because we see what's happening there is African people are claiming agency. And it's exciting to Africans everywhere. You can find this discussion in virtually every place in the world where Africans are. They're excited about what's happening in the Sahel. They're excited because it's a part of a decolonization process that for the longest period of time, we've been locked into this situation with the murders of people like Lumumba and Sankara and and even people in South Africa like Sobukwe, who was who was killed. We are convinced they murdered him. They locked him up and refused to let him out for long periods of time. And then shortly after that, he died. Biko in South Africa. You look at Nkrumah, how they overthrew him, etc. And so this is part of what is a whole tradition inside Africa. And then African people globally who were fighting for Africa. This has been our tradition. There's never been a time where we have not fought for Africa, despite the fact that there have been times when they succeeded in assassinating our leaders and destroying our organizations. We remember, Comrade Charles, I know that as a member of the Black Panther Party, people have forgotten the fact that the Black Panther Party was struggling against colonialism.
That's right.
That's what it was about. It was struggling also to govern. It was talking about having power, not finding a way to become secure within the colonial apparatus, but breaking out of it. It was organized among the most oppressed sectors in the African community. It was not doctors brought to us relief from things like sickle cell anemia. These were Africans who were living in housing projects, who were going door to door, bringing this. This was part of a tradition of anti-colonial struggle. Saw it in China with the so-called barefoot doctors and things like that. You saw it in Nicaragua with the educators, when actually the young children dealt with illiteracy in Nicaragua in several months because they were unleashed to go out among the masses of people everywhere to take that. So the people were mobilized, and the people are the critical factor in an anti-struggle against colonialism, which is one of the reasons that every effort is made to keep us from being able to get to the people. One of the reasons that you have what they call shadow banning and things like that, so we can't communicate with the people. And also it's one of the reasons why we have to return to real organizing of the people in the communities that we live in. That's what the Panther Party did. They went door to door. They organized people in the communities where we live. And they organized committees and things like that to deal with the problems that we have. So that's what we've done, and this very exciting thing to see appears to be a kind of redemption of Africa. Garvey, Africa for Africans at home and abroad, not Africans for Africa for Africans in the Sahel. Africans for Africa at home and abroad, the whole piece. We want it all. We want the total, absolute, unconditional liberation and unification of Africa and African people everywhere. So that's what we stand for. And that's what Garvey stood for. And that's what Nkrumah was trying to implement when they attacked him. That's what Sobukwe was trying to do. That's what Lumumba was trying to do. It's a part of our tradition. Sankara was about that too. It's not just this irrational group of people who are in the Sahel. It's been part of what Africa had, and Africans have fought for since the first attack that was made on Africa itself. And that goes back 600 years ago. One of the things we keep hearing is that the French and other representatives of the colonial ruling class globally can talk about how they won't allow democratic elections to happen in the Sahel, and that makes them some kind of forces who had to be opposed. This is part of even the logic around Langley's statement about how how Sankara, Comrade Ibrahim is using the people's resources, the people's gold against the people. And reality, of course, is that the crime is colonialism.
That's right.
And the colonizer makes the law. And so it is true that in order for colonized people to be free, we have to break the law. The colonizer makes the law, but colonialism is illegitimate. And we have to say colonialism is illegitimate. It is a totally illegitimate. It is a foreign imposed domination of a people and for the extraction of value, life, and all of the resources of the people. And so this is what it is that we are looking at it. And I'm offended every time I hear, even from people who are trying to make statements that are friendly, that are helpful for us, and they try to explain why, it was necessary. It's more important than democracy was feeding the people and all of this. That's not the basis of the contradiction we have. We're not opposed to democracy. And then when what we are doing is we say the highest expression of democracy is what? Self-determination.
That's right.
How are you going to talk about democracy when some white man or white group or white military force from France, when you got France dominating Black people in something like 50 or more so-called states, and then you want to say when people break out of that, they are being undemocratic. This is the most extraordinary kind of logic you can imagine, but we've become accustomed to that kind of logic. That's why we have to say, free Mumia, because he's innocent. The fact of the matter is that when you recognize colonial domination, Mao Zedong said a long time ago, any act of resistance by the colonized, by the oppressed, any act of resistance, whenever it happens, is self-defense. So it's self-defense. It didn't have to be, a cop didn't have to have the gun at him. But you're a colonized people, and struggling against colonialism means that you have to struggle against the structures and even the logic of colonialism itself that's imposed on us by an external force. And this is a presumption of them bringing civilization to us. This is a presumption that you had coming from, especially from England, with this whole concept of the white man's burden, where the great colonial poet talked about. It's like, it's not that we want to do it. It's not like we have to go, we want to oppress the Black people and all these other people, but it's a burden that we have to accept. It's the white man's burden. We have all of this excess civilization. We have all this excess Christianity. It's a burden that's been imposed on us to go ahead and bring civilization to everybody else. In fact, you go back to 1919 with the so-called League of Nations, where it was supposed to be based on self-determination. But what did they talk about? And they said self-determination, in order for anybody to have self-determination, you had to bring with you proof that you're civilized. So this is true. This was the League of Nations that was a precursor to the United Nations. The League of Nations, which was something that was put together, actually it was initiated by the United States, by Woodrow Wilson, but the U.S. Congress would not ratify it. And so that was blown for a while. So the League of Nations, which was supposed to bring peace. And why was it going to bring peace to the world? Because they created a situation where all these wars to divide the world and redivide the world, they're like mafioso, that they don't like the deal they got the last time, so they got to go to war. So they created this parliament, a democratic process where the white people can dominate the world in this thing they call the League of Nations. And so you have all of these countries come together and they make decisions, but it was rigged just like the United Nations. And the United Nations became necessary because the League of Nations didn't work. So you had the peace that was supposed to come with the League of Nations, that was in 1919, but in the 30s, you had World War happening all over again. So you've got to bring this in with the treaty that ended, with the victory that the Russians made, by the way, over the Nazis. It was Russia who lost 27 million people in that war. It was the Russians who did that. The United States entered that war late. And they entered it late because their assumption was that the Russians and the Germans would kill each other off, etc., and that would leave America as the big dog. And so when you have this situation with the United Nations coming into existence for the same reason, it's rigged. So you got the General Assembly, but all the people in the General Assembly, but then you got a handful of people in the Security Council. Security Council can veto anything that the majority of the people want.
That's
and
right.
so it's a rigged thing, and it's also something that's designed to be able to the colonizers can have this nonviolent debate among themselves, so they won't have to fight to redivide the world anymore. So they won't have to fight. But what's happening now that's so important is that the agency of African people is expressing itself in a very serious way. This in the 1960s, and probably even the time when you were a member of the Black Panther Party, the world looked to Africa and Black people. We were the future. People saw us as the future.
That's
I would
right.
be on airplanes and people from different places in the world would ask me, what happened to the Black Revolution? Everybody expected this to be the solution because we're here in the belly of the beast. And guess what? The whole world revolves around what they steal from Africa. The whole world wouldn't be a modern economy as they characterize it if it were not for resources coming from Africa.
That's right.
The fact is, the existing social system that people like to refer to around capitalism, what have you, for the first time in human history, a world economy was created. How? First, when Portugal attacked Africa in 1415, 600 years ago, initiated the process in the Canary Islands where they created sugar plantations and had Black people and others working there. You had a situation where with that, they went into other parts of Africa. They were looking, by the way, for the gold that Mansa Musa, they were looking for that because they were starving, first of all, in the 1300s, to the extent that England, you had people in London who were eating their cats and dogs and their babies. And I'm not saying this I'm not trying to slander England because I don't believe in making up anything on white people. I really don't believe in that. Just tell the truth. I mean, the truth is devastating itself. And so you had this horrible economic situation. And then this stuff about they kind of find out if the world, was round and can you get to this place from going that place, etc. But they were looking for that gold. That Mansa Musa, who came out of Mali, there's something like 60,000 people with him traveling for miles and miles and just giving away gold and setting up all these other things. And so they want to find that gold. And that's one of the things that had them out there circling around the coast of Africa. They knew it was in Africa. Everything is in Africa. They knew it was in the coast of Africa. So they're going to go to Africa and find that gold. So for the first time in history, with Portugal, this is later on, when Portugal in 1415 starts this process, and then they set a pace. This became a policy of Portugal. You go there, you steal this, and by the way, Columbus was involved in some of this. He was in Africa at the Cape, in the Cape, not the Cape, but the Cape Coast of the Gold Coast, if you characterize it that, where the Portuguese built this fortress and stuff like that. And Columbus helped to build that. He helped to build some of those things. And so for the first time in history, you got this theft of Black people being dispersed all around the world. In the process of doing that, they're killing indigenous people. In a short order, they killed so many millions of indigenous people. These are the civilizers that we are talking about now. They killed so many indigenous people, millions of indigenous people, etc. And then when you look at places when what we characterize as what's characterized as the Americas today, even though it's not an indigenous name, it was named for a white man, and just like most of us got named white, but the colonizers. So you see this whole movement of whatever you see, like in what they call South America, all of these borders and what have you came into existence through through the enslavement of African people, transferring Africans to all of these places, work in the mines, to work as enslaved labor and what have you. And also they stole our technology. And you must remember this, that part of it was not just to get brawn, they wanted brain. And it's we who brought the rice farming and stuff like that because we knew how to do it. And as quiet as it's kept, how many people were upset with Fauci and the vaccinations and things like that. But when smallpox hit this country in the 1800s, etc., it was an African who was enslaved who said, hey, this is how we do this in Africa. And he actually took the pustulates and scratched and showed scratching on your arm. And this was a form of vaccination that, and it is the thing that solved the problem. Of course, the African didn't get the credit for it. I mean, you heard initially white people got the credit for it, but people have investigated and come to understand and expose the fact that that's what happened. But anyway, the point that I would make is that France, tiny France, civilized France, chauvinistic France that brags about how great it is and what have you, that brags about its sidewalk cafes in Paris and things like that. What they don't brag about is that the resources that built France comes from Africa. They used to refer to Haiti as the pearl of the Antilles. Africans in Haiti, the labor of Africans in Haiti built the Eiffel Tower. This is something even the New York Times wrote about, and you can Google that. It was our labor that did that. And so they're extracting tremendous amounts of labor from us. The thing that made the attack on Africa so significant also is that while colonialism was known before they did what they were doing to us, that colonialism is usually seen as some people characterize as franchise colonialism, where the Europeans would go someplace like they did in Vietnam and just start stealing and sending resources back to France. They came to this territory that you and I are on right now. The initial objective was to steal resources and send it back to England. And they did this in various other parts of the world. But the thing that really became fundamental to and they did that all over Africa, just sucking out resources. And look at, you talk about Niger and France, something like 60% of the electrical power in France is coming from Niger, from the uranium from Niger. But Niger is dark. I mean, I know you can see the big cities and all that, but Niger is dark. If you can Google it at night and see what you see in Niger and all these other places. So it's a parasitic kind of relationship that came into existence. And it's a whole system. It's not just a policy. It's not just a policy. It might have been a policy when it started with Ukraine. I mean, with Portugal. But it's now a system. And this is when Karl Marx talked about how capitalism was born. He said that among the things he said was turning Africa into a warring for the commercial hunting of black skins. He talked about the murder that was happening in the East Indies. He talked about the interring of the indigenous people, the aboriginals, if you will, in the Americas. He said this is how the whole thing got started. He said that he characterized as primitive accumulation. He says this has the same significance in political economy, Charles, he said, as original sin in theology. This is where it all started. This is where it all started.
All right, touch one, touch all, touch one. Touch all. One Africa.
One nation.
One nation. So yeah, that was very powerful. Everything that you've seen that has been happening globally is just showing that we're coming together in a more unified front. But I did want to share just a little bit of information with you, a piece. When I was, fortunate enough to be in France a couple of years ago, I did a lot of research and had a lot of time to do some of that stuff. So it's interesting that France themselves, and I'll just make it short without reading all that. France itself has to admit that part of the contradictions that it's facing is its colonial past. For example, it was mentioned that Guadeloupe, Africans in Guadeloupe are trying to get back home to the continent of Africa. That's true. One of the things that France did in 1933, they spread the people with pesticide and they caused cancer generations and generations later get cancer. Not only that, the food stock and if food talk about food insecurity, France is in threat of not having enough food to feed itself. This is the same thing that had happened with Europe before it was Europe. When they came out of the plague, they didn't have enough food stock to feed themselves. Therefore, they had to go out and find food in a wonderful place like the continent of Africa or any other resources. And we also know that the fact that they've closed down shop with the uranium, Burkina Faso said, you can't have no more of my uranium. And if you do, it's going to be at my cost. And we're going to sit down and it's going to be negotiated thereof. And we can start lighting up our cities and our towns, and not just that France can light up its own places. But the interesting thing about France, it doesn't have light for all its population. It's about a third or more of its population that doesn't have access to lights either. But they would tell you that it's the city of lights. And when you downtown in Paris, there aren't any city of lights. The only lit up thing there is the Eiffel Tower. And once they had those low lights starting twinkling like Christmas lights, they go off and you just have a little bit of light. And it's a very dark and dreary looking place. So they definitely need these resources. But one thing about France and a lot of European countries, they did a hell of a job of propaganda. They got you believing that they are the cream of the crop, you know, the cream brulee, how you use that word, all that type of stuff. And they did it skillfully, but not telling you that they are exploiting the continent of Africa. And even today, they say that in their documentation, they have to say that we still got 8 colonies. Most of them are in the West Indian area, Western Polynesia, Guadeloupe, and of course, they even got 1 or 2 off the coast of East Africa. Most popularly, most people don't know about it, but it's a little island called Mayotte. And they have been having a lot of resistance and a lot of struggle against what the French have been doing. Of course, the French say that you're going to have the right to vote and you have your participation, but all that falls together and falls by the wayside because they don't hold up to their end of the bargain. And the people are fed up with that. So you see that there are always levels of resistance, and there are many levels of resistance to the French rule and occupation. And the accumulation of the Sahel states just is really magnified. So we want to appreciate that. And we thank everybody for doing what they did globally and giving us inspiration and letting us know that the fight isn't over. And, you know, touch one, touch one, and that's what we said. One Africa and one nation touching the whole world. And we need to stay on guard and stand up for that. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and move our program forward. Now, my thunder was stolen about that statement. And so to be redundant, I guess I could be redundant. The statement that was read, in full disclosure, and you heard it, it was the same statement that our comrades read from Azania, South Africa. But there was a little distortion because it was outside. And so you may not, you know, got everything or heard everything. But we're going to go ahead and reread that statement because it won't hurt to say it 2 times because maybe it'll be ingrained into somebody's head and maybe you online particularly didn't catch it. So you can catch it right now. So this is a statement that comes from the African Socialist International entity under the organization of the African People's Socialist Party. This particular statement was drafted by the Secretary General, Lawesi Chasha, who is in exile from the Congo, and he lives in England. And so the title of this paper, Africa Workers of the World Unite and Organize. Global Day of Action in Defense and in solidarity with Burkina Faso, join the struggle taking Africa back in our own hands, stand with the Anti-Colonial Alliance of Sahel States. Once again, we salute the just and historic struggles of the governments and African people in the Sahel states who have in a short space of time expelled the U.S. and French colonial armies from our sacred African soil. The anti-colonial governments of the Sahel states led by Chichani, Goeta, and Traore are part of the general growing African resistance characterized by the rejection of foreign colonial powers led by the U.S. and supported by unpatriotic African petty bourgeois neo-colonial governments. The governments and people of the Sahel have reintroduced anti-colonial resistance as the main politic in the region, contributing to the mobilization and excitement of African people in the region, in Africa and throughout the world. The Alliance of Sahel States is capturing more and more the imagination of African people everywhere, who want nothing less than the total redemption of Africa for the benefit of all Black people at home and abroad. A clear example of this desire is the fact that Guadeloupe, a French-controlled island in the Caribbean, at least half of the people want to go home to Africa. And just one point on that, there are studies that's been out most recently as of last year, and especially in the colonies and outside of the United States, more and more Africans, and not that they hadn't been, but Africans are actually identifying with Africa per se. And that is just showing another example of how we are globally unifying with the continent of Africa, knowing that Africa is our motherland, knowing that Africa is our fatherland, knowing that Africa is home, and seeing that in the studies are showing that they don't feel any allegiance. It was like 90% of the people surveyed don't feel any allegiance, don't have no patriotism to being born in France, to be born in England, to be born in Belgium, Germany, Guadeloupe, Jamaica, etc. They see Africa as home, and that's a victory in itself.
Yeah.
We have to always see the big picture in every national or regional struggle. The attacks on Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the Uhuru 3 on the Venezuelan government of Nicolas Maduro and the attacks on Capt. Traore are all part of the same war being waged by the colonizer to maintain colonialism as the global mode of production. The Alliance of Sahel states is not just fighting the US, France, and other parasitic corporations, but against the colonial mode of production and its thousands of manifestations, past and present, including attempt coups against Captain Ibrahim Traore, threats of war against Niger, sanctions against the Sahel states, the bloody overthrow of governments of Lumumba, Gaddafi, the onslaught going on in the Congo, Rwanda genocide, the Sharpeville massacres, the murder of Dr. Martin Luther King, murder of Malcolm X, the economic suppression of the CFA, and the IMF and the World Bank, and all its structural adjustment programs are the colonial mode of production, colonial slave trade, and the lynchings of African people in the United States. The question is, who must die? The global colonial mode of production or the African anti-colonial mode of production? Obvious answer to that question. The balance of power within the Sahel states has shifted in favor of anti-colonialist forces against the forces of the status quo and the African petty bourgeoisie. All these coup attempts against the government of Ibrahim Traore are desperate efforts to derail the forward motion of African people and reinstate French or US control over the Sahel states. We in the African People's Socialist Party understand very well that for Africa and African people to be free, the global colonial mode of production must die. The colonizer must go. No African can afford to be a spectator. We are all called by history to act decisively wherever we are to build a modern anti-colonial movement with the final objective of decolonizing the mode of production once and for all and replacing it with the African working class mode of production. To stand in solidarity with Captain Traore, General Chiani, and General Goata is to be a part of the international effort to mobilize, activate, and organize all fronts of the African national liberation movement to achieve our final objective, the liberation and unification of Africa and African people. Our salvation is in one Africa, one nation. The salvation of the world is also in one Africa, one nation. This is what imperialist forces are trying to stop. From one Sahel state to one Africa to one nation. We are clear that the union of the three states of the Sahel is in the right direction. It points to the necessary unity of all 54 African states and all Black communities dispersed around the world to end white power over our lives once and for all. The defense of the anti-colonial government of Sahel states, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali is upon us. It is what we do everywhere to build a connected single movement under the leadership of the African working class that will make it impossible for the colonizers and their puppets, unpatriotic African petty bourgeois forces to attack Captain Traore and the Sahel states. The mission of the African working class is the mission of the African People's Socialist Party. The mission of the African People's Socialist Party is to complete the Black Revolution. That is to complete the revolution of Kwame Nkrumah, Malcolm X, Patrice Lumumba, Thomas Sankara, and others. But this time, until it has been completed. This time, till it's won. Uhuru. One Africa. One nation. One Africa. All right, Uhuru. So once again, that was a statement that was put out by the African People's Socialist Party. And especially for those of you online who didn't catch it earlier, you now caught it. And get ready to participate in question and answers. But right now, we're going to have a call for membership before we go that far. Next, we're going to have a call for membership and resources. Fight back. Fight back.
During the night, today, this afternoon.
It's all good.
Freedom on your mind, freedom in your belly, freedom in the air you breathe. We're gonna have freedom until it is won. Uhuru. I am Fofi Ushairi El Kibulon, and I am here to tell you that we're gonna be free, y'all. We're gonna be free by any means necessary. And that is from one to whatever till it's done. Okay, I go today. We online?
Yes, we are.
All right. We got $100 goal today. We got $100 goal today. And we can make it happen. And I'm counting on all of the wonderful people listening out there because I know you want to be free also. Yeah, you want to get your neck free of that boot. You want to buy you some boots and lace them up because you know what? That's how we're going to make this happen. Tennis shoes are comfortable, but boots are more reliable. Okay? More reliable. If you can push somebody with your finger, they'll just do this. Throw their shoulder back. But if you hit them with your fist, they may not get up. Okay? And that's what unity is. That fist, because we got a job to do. We've been doing it, but we're going to do it damn good now. Okay? If you want to use your Cash App, do we have our? If you want to use Cash App, it is Cash App $ InPDUM, 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 InPDUM. Okay, online, you hear that? If you slide, yes. Can we have the donation slide? Or you can do cash, which we are doing it here. If you're online and you want to use your credit card, go to the website. Is InPDUM, InPDUM.org/donate. Donate. That is InPDUM, InPDUM.com/donate. I want to see if you're not a member here in the hall. You can also donate and become a fighter, become a member at any time, but if we do it today, we'll be great. Our donations, our membership is, basic membership is $25 a year. That is basic. 25 for a whole year, and you have the same rights as anyone else in the organization. Your ideas, your energy, your resources, your connections, they count. So you can become a member, and that's a donation. So we have anybody that want to be a member that's not? Go to InPDUM, InPDUM.org/join if you want to become an InPDUM member. I'm talking to the people online. That's InPDUM.org/join, JOIN. And you can fill it out. It's simple, really easy. If you have any questions, look under InPDUM.org and you can get what you need. With that being, okay, I want to thank Robert Brown for his donation. Uhuru, Mr. Brown. Yes. And Pierce Childress. We want to thank you for your donation. Our goal today is to continue these programs, to continue, because you would be listening to us and you wouldn't be seeing us if we didn't have Wi-Fi. And you know that costs. This building is beautiful, but to keep it sustained and to keep it comfortable, that takes resources. The flyers you get, that takes resources. So what we also do a monthly donation support to our brothers and sisters in Africa. Okay, we are a world organization, and guess what? We take care of each other. All right. With that being said, I will let my comrade back up here, and I'll come back and let you know that we made our goal and more. That's what I'm predicting. All right, Uhuru, we are winning.
Okay. Well, thank you, Comrade Fofi. I just want to give a little shout out and some recognition to some online comments. So one from Robert Brown. He says, the colonizer must remember what the oppressed cannot forget. We want to appreciate that comment.
Yeah.
Comrade Robert Brown. There's also someone breakthrough. Free Africa, free Palestine, free the planet. So we got that unity going on. And someone, Norman Richmond, he also wanted to comment from the not so great white North, Uhuru Sasa. So the people calling for freedom right now. And there's also a shout out for Charles Barron and the Barons from Sojourner Truth. Oh yeah, the Barons, she said, or he said. So we want to appreciate everybody that's online and your contributions financially and politically just by commenting. And if you have any other questions, we will monitor those questions as we go further into the program. Getting down to the tail end of it, we're going to have a Q&A, and that is questions and answers. We have a mic to my right. You can come up to the mic, or you can come up to the podium if you like. And we have some questions. We're ready to entertain any questions or comments from within the room and those that may be online. There's a particular, well, this is a comment that's online for someone who just is showing support in terms of Ibrahim Traore. Uhuru hands off Ibrahim Traore, hands off Burkina Faso, and hands off Uhuru 3 of the African Liberation Movement, and hands off of Africa. So we see that the people are calling for straight unity and hands off of what is rightfully ours and what is correctly ours. So, no other online questions. Were there any comments or questions in the room? Someone want to add into the conversation, contribute to what the political discussion was about? Anything on the 12 points? We can talk about that as well. The 14 point number 12. And you can see how the point 12 actually is married to what's going on in the world today. It's just phenomenal how these points really address what happens in the world before it even happens, and after it happens. But before a lot of this, mess, to be nice about it, does pop up against African people. The ideas and the ideology of the African People's Socialist Party has always been there for as a guiding force to help us through this and to help us understand what is going on in the world today. Oh, come on up, Comrade Fofi Porter. I was looking.
I just want to say, I want to unite with what Comrade just said about the African People's Socialist Party and our education is always on time. It always set the stage and has the answers to all of the confusion that's try to be thrown at African people. And once you hear it, you know it's true, because you can tell a lot.
Yeah, you
You
can.
can tell a lot. So I just want to give big props to our leadership for putting it out there and making sure we're prepared to not believe everything that's thrown at us or anything that's thrown at us, because we know the truth. Uhuru.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so there are no other questions or comments at this time. So, not to belabor the point, we're just going to continue to move forward with the rest of the program for today. And we will get your comments. We'll see them as the week go by. We see them online, and we know that we'll see your donations, and we'll be sure to make a give you a special shout out and recognize that. So moving forward, the program next to our agenda, we're going to have some announcements. And we'll have the slide hopefully to show the announcement.
Announcements.
Keep going to the. Okay, there's the announcements.
Right, first next slide.
Next. So this is the work day. What is this? This is the spring volunteer work day in the Gary Brooks Garden that's right next door to us. That event begins May the 10th. It starts on May 10th, and it's from 9 to 12 a.m. So you are invited to the Gary Brooks Community Garden Volunteer Day. It's at 9 to 12 p.m. Join us in the spring planting for the 6th annual garden season. Meet and welcome our new team of Master Gardeners. It's at 4031 West Florissant. Sign up today. You bring your enthusiasm and love for African freedom and self-determination. Bring your skills, or we will train you. We also have endless possibilities to grow more food by planting vertically, utilizing hydroponics, and planting more fruit trees, which will be a great thing. So you can sign up at blackpower.org/volunteer. or you can call it 314-380-8016. Next slide. And this is the registration opens already, but these are the dates for the One Africa, One Nation Marketplace. The first one is coming up pretty soon. It's June 21st, and they'll be each month after that, a month apart. And you see the dates there, so please don't miss that first one. That's June 21st. It'll be at the O'Fallon Park, not far from us in the neighborhood. And you got July 26th, August 23rd, September 10th, and October 25th. So we got a year, the rest of the year of One Africa, One Nation Farmer Market. And your next slide. All right. So this is Black self-determination, not mass incarceration. This is your Give STL Day webinar. This is where we're raising resources and funds for the African work. We had a $10,000 goal to raise the African Independent Workforce Program. That is Thursday, May 20.
The 8th. Give STL Day Thursday, May 8th.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Right. Okay, that's May 8th, correction. That's May 8th, that's coming up next week, real soon. So you can register for that, and that's tinyurl.com/give STL Day, AIWP. Your donation goes directly to the Black Power Blueprint. Next slide. Okay, next slide. The rest of the slides will be on this particular one will be presented by Comrade Siali.
Right, Uhuru. So, as you can see, we need volunteers for African Arts Festival coming up, and that's going to be on May 24th, 25th, and 26th. So basically Saturday, the hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday is 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then Monday is from 8 to 6 p.m. And these also include setup times. And then, of course, Monday is going to also be the breakdown time to get it back on the truck. But we need Africans to participate in this process. And that's going to mean not only just staffing at the booth, but we also have operations work that's going to be taking place. That means shops. That means helping to load the truck, unload the truck, load it again, and unload it again. So we need Africans to participate in this. So just want to say that, it's so important that, Africans be involved in this economic development process. Because of all the struggles that we've gone through for Uhuru Bakery Cafe to start getting construction going and to eventually open this building up, Uhuru Foods and Pies really plays a serious critical role in that process. So we need Africans to help staff. There's no experience necessary. We will train you in, the process of being in the kitchen and helping to produce the items that we're going to need, that we're going to be fixing to cook, to bake. And, we just need a lot of staffing involved in this process. Just also want to say this also, we had our first first successful food booth at Earth Day this past weekend. And we want to really especially appreciate Sophia and Solomon for staffing. We want to appreciate Sister Carol and Fofeet, who also helped the staff as well. We really helped to set a certain momentum at the booth. And also, Brother Gregory, we want to salute you for helping the staff, helping to load the truck. Right on. And I just want to say that because we've been accepted to the African Arts Festival, this is where we want Africans to really jump in and help to support the institution that's under the leadership of Black Star Industries. So again, we need to contribute to our own economy. So we encourage people to sign up. I have a sign up sheet on that table. So please sign up. And also, next rally, I want to see more people here, more Africans here. So your homework assignment is to bring more people with you, because again, we need Africans to staff the African Arts Festival, and staff the Uhuru Foods booth. So I can't say that enough, and I'm going to keep harping on it. I'm a buggy, but we want to bring Africans into this process. Also, next slide. Nina's going to be having its next meeting on Tuesday, June 3rd. We're changing the date because it'll be one day after African Arts Festival, and people are going to be pooped, to say the least. So Tuesday, June 3rd at 6 p.m. right here at the Uhuru House. And we will have, again, we'll have our guest speakers, and we'll have refreshments. And just to let everybody know, if you want to become a member of NINA, it is free in 2025. So please, we have some brochures on the, I think that is the table back here with the flags. So please get you a brochure, and you have all the information you need to become a member. Next slide. And also, you can order Nina t-shirts. You can see, you can get that Nina patch on your shirt, and you can strut around proud. I'm a part of the North Side Independent Neighborhood Association. So the shirts are $25. We already had 2 people want to get shirts. So join those 2 people and get your Nina shirts. And with that, that's all the information I have. Uhuru. Brother Gregory?
At our last NINA meeting, there were 2 speakers that were there. One was a lady that had information regarding grants available.
Quran,
And
yes.
the second one was folks from Shaw Garden about the 400 million development over there. Do we have access to their information that we can share with people?
She did leave information here. We'll need to get that. We'll get that information to you. Yeah.
I had some folks that wanted information on that.
We can put it up on the NINA Facebook.
Yeah, we will have that information on the Facebook so people can get it. All right. All right, Uhuru.
Well, we're okay. Oh, yeah, we forgot one more important announcement. Now, this is African Liberation Day that will be held here Sunday, May 24th, May 25th. It's from 3 to 6 p.m. The African workers of the world unite and organize this time till it's won. You see that till this time is won is a mantra it's going throughout. So it's real serious. So we got some heavy lineup for coaches there, and we have a great dynamic keynote speaker for African Liberation Day, which also is commemorated worldwide. Uhuru. And the next slide. So don't forget to get your Burning Spirit newspaper. We have some on the back. Of course, you can always go to the store. You can buy bundles. You can buy individual. You can send them to different people. You can send them to people in prison. But get more information about the Burning Spirit, go to the Burning Spirit .store, and also subscriptions. You can get the burningspirit.com/subscribe. It's a great publication since 1968. All right. Next slide on that. And of course, the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement have Thursday studies. They're virtual. They're 7 p.m. Central Time. You can go to this link, the tinyurl.com/RNDP studies. And they are hosted mostly by the international president of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement. That is none other than Dr. Matsamela Odom. These are some great discussions. You learn a lot about the history of InPDUM, deepen your understanding and study of African internationalism, contribute and join and continue the process. Uhuru, next slide. And next we have how you can participate with these Sunday studies. You can always do things such as pass out a leaflet in your neighborhood, do some phone banking. We can use assistance with any of the Zoom audio visual link, provide us security. And I'm gonna call Comrade Sophie up to come here to talk about the Caramoo and let us know what we got for this week and what we may be able to expect for next week. And we'll have that momentarily. And as you know, Caramoo, and if you don't know Caramoo, it's just another word in Swahili, which means like feast, to eat, to fellowship, to come together. Comrade Sophia.
Everyone. So for this week we're having Caramoo, we're having the Sloppy Joe sandwiches and salad and fruit today. And due to the weather getting kind of unpredictable, we're thinking about right. For next week, if I can get some volunteers, we're looking at possibly doing soup, salads, and more fruit, because we need to get more fruit. I know I need to get more fruit and more vegetables. So salads, preferably leafy green salads, or leafy greens, or like fruit salads and different things like that. So if we have any volunteers for next week for that, and we'll also need possibly, we might have water left today, but something else, another drink and a dessert. So do we have any volunteers today, or do I need to text everybody afterwards? Okay, Kofi, black bean soup. Any others for the salad? Okay, Ali. Green salad. Any others? Okay, cornbread for Ikinge. Okay.
And it's gonna be vegan.
Yes, most things should be able to be vegan for next week.
You can't taste it.
Okay, so I'll end up bringing fruit salad, and then we'll have water. So, and I'll reach out for other things too if we need. But I want to thank you all. And I look. Oh, okay, I didn't know. I saw something back.
Oh, do I have one? Okay, thank you. Appreciate it, Conrad. And thank you everybody for chipping in for Caramoo. Conrad, hopefully has come back to tell us the total of the resources.
Our goal was 100 and we made our goal.
So it is time for Caramoo, but we want to thank everybody for being in person and online. And we are here every Sundays from 3 to 5, 4101 West Florissant, St. Louis. We're on the corner of West Florissant and Alice. So if you're in town, please come on by. If you know somebody in St. Louis, send them this way. We'll be here next week. Thank you and Uhuru.